Well, you can't win them all. The streak is over. AEW Full Gear 2024 has come and gone. And unfortunately, it broke the streak of fantastic, even classic pay-per-views for AEW here in 2024. Every other show that I have watched this year has ranged from good to absolutely legendary. And despite the weekly shows not living up to par, despite, in my opinion, some of the worst produced shows in terms of storytelling, in terms of making people care about your product, I always felt like, despite all that, at least the pay-per-views would deliver. AEW would come through for their pay-per-views. And for the most part, that's what they've done. 2024 has not been a great year for AEW when it comes to the weekly product, when it comes to Dynamite, Collision, Rampage. But we all said they're the king of pay-per-views. They will at least give us worthwhile pay-per-views. Well worth the $50. But eventually, the quality of your weekly pay-per-views was going to catch up. It was going to catch up to your pay-per-views. I didn't think it would happen this year. I felt they had grace to get through 2024. I did kind of feel like things were going to get worse for them in 2025 if their weekly shows didn't improve. But for 2024, there was enough there for me to feel like, okay, Full Gear is going to be a great show. And then whatever they decide to do for World's End, that was at least going to be good, great, maybe even awesome. I didn't even speak too soon. I gave them too much grace. I thought this show was easily one of the weakest pay-per-views ever in AEW history. The last show that made me feel this numb, that left me with the feeling of, I spent $50 on that, was All Out 2020. Go back and watch that show. Wasn't great. Very forgettable. But that was the only time in AEW history that I felt a show disappointed me. Over 4 years ago, every other show after 2020, All Out 2020, was good to great to awesome to absolutely legendary. 4 years. 4 full years of amazing pay-per-view content. They were bound to have a bad week show. And unfortunately, it just so happened to be in the year where they had the best streak of pay-per-views ever. You can't win them all. This show just did not do it for me. It was decent. There were some matches on here that I think you all should at least go check out. Mercedes Moné and Kris Statlander over-delivered. If you wonder why Mercedes Moné gets the big bucks, why she's making $5 million, if that's the number she's making, go watch that match. That's why she's making the big bucks. You can criticize her weekly booking. I do too. Some of the heat she gets is not unfounded. I'm not going to sit here and pretend her booking has been fantastic. It hasn't. I myself am not a fan of her booking. But when it comes to her in-ring performance, you can't say shit about how well her matches have been. This is another Hell, I'll even go as far as to say this is her best match so far in AEW. And I still think she can put on better matches. But this match with Kris Statlander was outstanding. And yes, Kris Statlander deserves some credit as well. It takes two to tangle. But please, miss me with that whole where Mercedes isn't living up to her potential. Screw you. This woman is still one of the best female wrestlers in the world today. Some might argue the best female wrestler. And I wouldn't tell them otherwise. The other match that I thought was, well, I wouldn't say over-delivered. It delivered what I thought it would. Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. It's a Will Ospreay match. Those always deliver. Period. You already know how this works. You see Will Ospreay, expect a match of the year quality. At least a match of the year quality match. Maybe not a match of the year candidate. But still a match up there that I think you should go out of your way to watch. There were other good matches on the show, but they didn't really give me a sense of, man, I gotta go back and watch it. It was just a good match. And the problem with that is we get good matches all the time on Dynamite and Collision and Rampage. Sometimes even better matches. Here's the crazy part about this show. When it was all said and done, do you know what people were talking about the most? Alongside Mercedes Moné, Kris Statlander, and of course Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. They were talking about AJ Boom, the Rizzler, and his, what is his son's name? Justice something? Kid Justice? Whatever. I don't know anything about the Costco guys. I don't care. I'm not going to go out of my way to see them. I can understand why they're here, because they're popular. I know that they're popular on social media. Cool. But I'm sorry. I just can't bring myself to care. It's not for me. It doesn't need to be for me. But the fact that those three things were the most talked about things on this show, not the main event, which featured Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy for the world title. No one was talking about that when the show was over. And by the way, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know how you guys felt about the ending, but I thought it was an overbooked mess. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish. So Moxley retains, and then Hangman Page comes out with a chair. And you're like, why? What's he doing here? What does he have to do with the storyline? So he comes out with a chair, and then he helps Christian attack Jon Moxley. Christian appears, hits the unprettier kill switch, and then goes to cash in, and then Jay White comes out to stop him, and I'm sitting here like, wait, okay. Like, if Jay White came out to attack Hangman, at least that plays into something. Why is Jay White stopping Christian? What? Okay. So, I was already very confused with them being at it, and then you see the Deathriders running, then they get in a white van, and the commentators go, who's driving the white van? Who's driving the white van? Shane McMahon. It's Shane McMahon, I promise you. Who's driving the white van? It's Shane. It's gotta be Shane. But as they were driving away, Darby Allin comes in another car and crashes into their truck that they got here on, right? Crashed into the truck. And then the show ends with Darby Allin beating up their truck. Okay, it better be Shane McMahon driving that white van. He better be showing up the latest World's End, because this Death Rider storyline is dying 1,000 deaths. AEW cannot write a takeover story to save their life. It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm sorry. None of this is making sense to me. It's not even the fact that I don't like it. It's one thing for me not to like it, but then say I understand what they're trying to do. I don't like it, and I don't understand what they're trying to do. And it's sad because Daniel Garcia won his first AEW championship tonight. TNT. Took him 4 years to do it, but he did it. I'm not counting the Ring of Honor title. I don't count Ring of Honor. I just don't. It took Daniel Garcia 4 years to win an AEW title. Way too long, in my personal opinion, but he's here. Bobby Lashley beat Swerve. Not in the dominant fashion I would have wanted, but I get and understand why they didn't do that. He still beat him. I feel like this show didn't really do much for me. Despite the awesome matches we had, at least the 2 on the main card, I came out of this show honestly feeling like it wasn't worth the $50. It wasn't worth the $50. And let me tell you something. It's one thing if WWE has a ho-hum, decent, average show every once in a while, because I don't spend no $50 on the PLEs. I spend $10. Well, actually, it's more like 15 because I don't have any ads when it comes to Peacock. So, $10-15. Still, I can forgive average, okay, decent shows. I will not forgive anything less than a good show if I'm spending $50. So AEW, and I'm serious when I tell you this, that was strike one. This show is strike one. I can write off 2020 because 2020 happened 4 years ago. You have absolved yourself of that underperforming show because of 4 years of fantastic pay-per-views. However, this is strike one. If I get 2 more pay-per-views like this, whether it's a combination of, okay, the next pay-per-view will be good, but the one after that's not. If I get 3 pay-per-views that are below average, I'm going to stop buying your pay-per-views. I'm sorry, like, $50. It might not be a lot to you, Tony, because you're a billionaire. It is a lot to me. So you better hurry up and get these pay-per-views on Max. Pronto. Because I cannot and will not give you $50 for shows like this. This was not AEW quality. This was the epitome of a disappointing show. The weakest AEW show in years. And ain't that ironic? Of course, AEW would end 2024 with one of their weakest shows after having a string of some of their best pay-per-views ever. But it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. I shouldn't be surprised. I should have expected it. I'm sorry, I should have expected it. Their weekly shows have been dog shit. They have been absolute trash. I should have, in my mind, expected it to affect the pay-per-views eventually. I should have expected the pay-per-views to catch up to the weekly shows. And I'll blame it on me. I had this naive mindset that because this is where the best wrestle, because the pay-per-views are all about the wrestling, right? It's all about the wrestling. I won't have to worry about the shows, the pay-per-views not living up to the standard. I was wrong. This pay-per-view, if I wasn't worried about AEW before, I'm worried now. Because if your pay-per-views are suffering, we're in trouble. Please turn a corner. I am begging AEW, if they are pushing the reset button, push it now. Push it now. Bring in Shane McMahon on Wednesday. If he is coming in, don't wait until World's End. Fuck that. Bring him in this Wednesday. We gotta push the reset button. Because this ain't good. You had 10,000. They actually had a crowd tonight. Newark, New Jersey. You had 10,000 people in that building. And they were dead half of the show. You finally have a crowd. All this year, you were struggling. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, maybe 4,000 to pack out these buildings. You rent these 20,000, 15,000 seat arenas and only bring in 2,000. Horrible. You finally have a crowd. Your pay-per-views usually draw big crowds by default, but even still, you finally, one of the few times this year you have a crowd, and you shit the bed. What else can I say? How many chances are we going to keep giving AEW? Now I feel like we're at that point with AEW now, where just like with WWE during the 2010s when Vince McMahon was running the show, we're just taking it on the chin. It feels like we're just letting this shit go because, like with WWE, it was the only place in town, and these kids, these men, these women, they needed a place to work, and so as a fan, I had to support it. I kind of feel like that with AEW, where it's like, man, look, not a great show, it's not doing well, but I gotta support it because the business needs two companies. I can't just let them slip. I can't just keep giving them a pass for existing. I can't keep doing it. I have been sounding the alarm about AEW for it feels like half a year now. No, I'm serious. I have been sounding the alarm about the quality of this show. And it's starting to feel like it's catching up to everybody else. And it's starting to affect their pay-per-views. I don't care that they signed a new deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. Congratulations. Can we not use these next 3 years to give us ho-hum, very boring shows? Can we try, please? You know, I thought I was going to go in harder. I had a feeling that I was going to rant a little bit, but I felt like I should be harder on this show. I feel like I should be going in harder, but I don't really have the energy for it. I don't have the energy to go in hard. I'm at the point where, and see, this is the problem. This is the problem. This is how you know things are not good for AEW. At least with WWE, even during like the horrible times, I would go in hard when the show sucked, but I would come back the next week expecting better. I remember in 2019 with WWE where the show was so bad, I didn't even have the energy to watch it. I couldn't even bring myself to rant on WWE Raw or even SmackDown. It was that bad. There was a point in time with WWE, the main roster, where I couldn't even watch it, and all I was doing was watching NXT, Lucha Underground, and AEW. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it got. My interest in WWE was at an all-time low, so badly that I said to myself, I don't even want to watch it. I don't even want to rant on it. I don't even have the energy to hate watch it. I'm getting there with AEW, where I don't even have the energy to watch it. And let me tell you something about me. Once you get me to that point, where I just throw it out the window and say, I'm not going to watch it. It's really hard to get me back. Look at TNA. For real, look at Impact Wrestling. I used to review Impact Wrestling weekly when it was hot. Then I stopped. And when I stop, I don't come back. Look at what happened with NXT. NXT, Black and Gold, when it went to NXT 2.0, I stopped reviewing it. And even though people tell me it's so much better now than it was with not Black and Gold, but 2.0, which I believe. After watching the PLEs with NXT, I believe you that it's better than 2.0. I still haven't gone back to watch it. I might review it here and there when certain shows happen that are special occasions. I'll review that. But weekly reviews of NXT, do you see them? No. Once you get me to a point where I think you are not worth my time, forget about it. I'm just saying, I'm not there yet with AEW. I'm just letting you know, I'm getting there. Because pay-per-views like this, to me, that's all right, fix your shit. My foot is heading towards the door. I'm grateful that AEW exists. And I have to keep saying this because I don't want to come across as someone that's ungrateful, that doesn't appreciate what it means to the wrestling business. I'm happy that it's here, and I hope it continues to prosper for the sake of the wrestling business. But I'm sorry. You're not going to keep getting my $50 if this is the quality you're going to give me. When the developmental show of WWE that I don't even watch is putting on better shows than your pay-per-views, if it gets to that point. Because again, if this is what we're going to get forward and NXT starts kicking your ass, we're in trouble. I need the people in charge, Tony Khan, AEW Creative, I need them to look at this show and tell themselves, this is our rock bottom. This is the worst it will ever be. I need them to look at Full Gear 2024 and go, all right, never again. We promise you going forward, it will not be this bad again. And you need to start making changes. So we are going to review Full Gear. We're going to go in and talk about the card. And I'm going to point out some things that I had an issue with and the problems that I saw. Because it wasn't all bad. My score is a C+, right? If it's a C+, then that means, all right, there's some things in there to like, but it's not, again, it's not A shows. It's not S shows. It's not B+ shows. It's below average. Again, these are your pay-per-views. This is your bread and butter. This is what AEW has built its reputation off of. The best pay-per-views in the business, in the world right now. If they suffer, sound the alarm. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and move things along. You know how we do things. We're going to do the shout-outs, plugs. Of course, say hello to the people. And then we'll crown a Super Chat champion tonight. International Super Chat champion, by the way. So, go ahead and get your donations ready. Because we're going to do that immediately after the advertisement and the partnership. So, let's go ahead and get right to it. If this is the first time you're watching me, do me a solid favor. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Wow, your edit help expand the brand by doing the following things. Join the membership, click that join button, and get the opportunity to request a video of your choosing, whether it's a live reaction, hot topic, or review, past, present, or future. Also, don't forget to gear thanks. Hit that super thanks if you would like to donate after the fact. You can also like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter at just Alyx Central. Give me a follow on Instagram, give me a follow on Spotify, give me a follow on Cameo, give me a follow on Threads. Follow us on Discord, and check me out on Blue Sky, where the skies are clearer. And give me a follow on TikTok, for I am the tickest of the talkest. Donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, Venmo, and yes, Super Chats are officially on you. Can donate at any point in time during the broadcast to get your thoughts played live on the air. Email me at justalexsworld@gmail.com for business inquiries, just to say hi, and get yourself a t-shirt today at Pro Wrestling Tees and Teespring. Are you a Just Alex guy? Then join the club. Get you an I'm a Just Alex guy t-shirt, hot off the press. Also get you an old school Deluxe Man t-shirt, get you a new school Alex's World t-shirt, and many, many more shirts coming your way. So stay tuned. Join the cause, expand the brand today, right here in Alex's World. Once again, I want to thank the people over at Mint Mobile Nation for partnering with me on these live streams. If you're someone that's looking for a sweet, very sweet deal on your mobile plans, think about how much you pay on a monthly basis for that plan. Some of you pay an arm and a leg, hundreds of dollars. I understand family plans are a thing, but you got great quality. You got unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited data. That's not cheap, but it can be. What if I told you you can have all that? 5G network, unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited data for just $15 a month. $15 a month. Now, if that caught your attention, then let's get a quick word from our partners before we get to some shout-outs.
This video is partnered by Mint Mobile. Like many of you, I've been trying to cut back on expenses lately, but let's be real. It's tough when you got things to do and you don't want to give them up. But sometimes you have to make those sacrifices to pay your phone bill and satisfy the big tech companies. That was until I discovered Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless services starting as low as $15 a month. With Mint Mobile, you can get high-speed data plus unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. The best part? You get to keep your phone and even the phone number. Now, if you do want to purchase your own phone, they do have phones available on the website, which you can get through the link. The internet service is reliably fast. It's so seamless, I put it up there with any other network on the market. Now, some of you might think switching to a new service is a hassle. Let me reassure you, this is only going to take you 15 minutes to set up. You could literally do it right now from your phone. No need to leave your house or contact anybody.
And if your device does not support eSIM, then Mint Mobile will personally ship you a physical SIM card.
So if you're like me and you want to save a little bit of money without sacrificing anything, use the link trymintmobile.com/justalex and start your wireless plan today as low as $15 a month. Don't lose out on this opportunity. Start saving money by switching to Mint Mobile today.
Thank you all for joining me for this lovely live stream. Please show your love to the Mod Squad, Ultra, Shine 97 5 Star Heart, Elias, Ademi, New Japan Pro Wrestling Girl, Khalil does everything. Highway Dylan, Dylan Danger, the Mod Father, Teflon Don, and of course, Big MGM, because they help keep this a safe space for wrestling fans like you and like us. While you're at it, please be sure you like the video. The more you like the video, the more opportunities I will be given to be recommended here on YouTube. So help boost the algorithm by hitting that like button. The lines are open. The Super Chat Championship, the International Super Chat Championship is officially on the line. Here's how you win it. The person who donates the most money by the end of the stream will be crowned the new International Super Chat Champion. So, let's see who's coming to take it. But remember, we got sharks in here. But let's go ahead and get these shout outs in. I'm going to shout out the green first. We got some members in his house. Xavier Jackson, who thought the show was absolutely amazing. We disagree. Higurashi in his house. I think I also saw Tyler Gaming. I did. Tyler Gaming is here. And if I see anybody else that's green, I'll call you out. But let me go ahead and shout out the rest of the crew. Right at the top, I see JJ, who let the dogs out? Ooh. JJ Bulldog, good to have you here. I see, is it Boswinch? Did I say that right? Boswinch? Boswrench? I think I was Right the first time. Bozwinch. He says, I don't know what the point is in holding Shane off. Unless he's actually not coming, and we all just thought he was. We've reached a point where putting on a good week-to-week TV is more important than putting on bigger pay-per-views. Yeah, it's looking like we're getting away from that. This show was the example of that, as the product overall just feels ice cold. It's pretty bad, buddy. It's pretty bad. I agree. Joey Abs. Nice name, by the way. Joey Abs. AEW seriously needs baby faces, and the Elite being the saviors won't be it. Yeah, I agree on that one. Trey Lusado, so that pay-per-view was wild, although it was... Hold on. So that pay-per-view was wild, although if I'm going to be honest, that Mercedes match was meh. Really? Wow, we disagree completely. Like, I thought Mercedes' match was the best part, one of the best parts of the show, and the overall show was not great, if I'm being honest with you. George Lewis, college football was kind of interesting than AEW Full Gear. I'm not gonna dispute that. It probably was better. Donald Lanesio, is it? Lanesio. Hopefully I say it right. Donald Lanesio. He says, I agree. I drove 7 hours for the show, left during Moxley's match. Wow! So you attended the show and you drove 7 hours. Oh my dude, I'm sorry. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, stuff like that would just turn people off. You can't just... Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, that does piss me off. That does piss me off. When people take the time, money, gas, to come to your shows, driving across the nation to be there live. 7 hours. And that was the show that you give them. That don't sit right with me. I don't like that. Sergio says SmackDown was better. Oh, this week's SmackDown was miles better than this pay-per-view. That should never be the case. Noel says it really better be Shane McMahon. Yeah, I'm at that point too, buddy. 98% of the time. What up, good sir? AEW with a mid-pay-per-view, not used to that at all. Me too. I just was blown away by how bad that is. That's terrible. Mall amazing. TK would ruin Athena. Man, with the way things are, he's ruining everybody else, so why not? And Maul says Britt Baker is going to WWE. I mean, there's nothing holding Britt here. Her and Adam Cole broke up. So if she wants to go, if she was to go, honestly, it would probably be better for her because they got nothing for her right now. Brian Lindsay says, is the reason why you haven't gotten back to a TNA or an NXT is because you're afraid of going through the same cycle again, where I get invested and then I just fall out of love with it. You know, I get invested and I fall out of love with it. Man, I hadn't even thought like that. It's probably something along the lines of what you're talking about. You're probably right, but I don't know. Juan Herrera, it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Juan. Mr. Juan Herrera. Happy birthday, sir. Happy birthday. So, yeah, we're going to do one more. Chris Wrestling Views. 7 hours or even longer, I would have been so massively pissed. I'm assuming that's what he tried to say. Would not watch AEW ever again. Seriously. Confession, I've only seen up to the Osprey Fletcher. The rest I'm going by feel. Had to stop because I'm around people who haven't watched wrestling, man. Yeah, so bro, if you were just judging the show by Mercedes Moné, Kris Statlander, Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay, then yeah, I would understand if it was an amazing show. I judged the whole show, and the whole show was not great. It wasn't great. Gen X6887 says, they're pretty well setting up for World's End, where Shane McMahon will debut. Alright, well, you better be right, hopefully. And not for your sake, you better be right for them, because this Deathriders storyline ain't it. Alright, well, so far, nobody has donated, so I don't know what would happen if no one donates. I'm assuming maybe Omar keeps the belt? Hopefully that won't be the case. Maybe someone will donate and then we'll crown a new champion, and then that person can end up choosing where the next pay-per-view will be. Like literally, if one of you donated $5, you would be in line to win the title. Like seriously. But we still got plenty of time left until then. So we're gonna go ahead and let's move things along. Give me your show pay-per-view grades, give me your pay-per-view grades, give me your scores, and let me know how you feel about it. 1 out of 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, and A, B, C, D, F. You let me know how you feel. Full Gear was live. Newark, New Jersey. 10,000 fans. One of their biggest crowds all year. Considering the fact that, if we're being honest, they usually don't do any more than 2,000 on a weekly basis. So, when you get a crowd around 10, hell, anything above 8,000 is a great crowd for AEW. So, 10,000 fans, that's a great crowd. That's an awesome crowd for them. I just didn't like the fact that they were quiet for a good portion of the show. And I was wondering, like, is it because they don't care about the matches? Or was it the fact that it was a 5-hour show? This show was way too long. Oh, this show was too long. I felt the show drag. I was fighting sleep during Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita. That should never be the case. This show was way too long, and there were a lot of matches on this card that, quite frankly, didn't have nearly enough hype, nearly enough storytelling to make me care. I'm sorry, if I'm being honest with you. You finally get a good crowd in what feels like months. Since All In, you finally get you a hot crowd. It wasn't worth shit, because the show wasn't worth shit. I didn't see the pre-show, but I guess I can quickly talk about AJ Boom. Is it Kid Justice or Big Justice? I think it's Big Justice, right? And then the Rizzler. Look, I saw parts of that match with QT Marshall. I gotta be honest with you. I don't know what kind of a wrestling experience AJ Boom has. He was a pretty good worker during that match. I thought he looked pretty good. Again, as celebrities go, not bad. Are we sure that he's not like a former wrestler? Because there were some things in there that looked too polished. So if you guys told me he was like a former wrestler who became a celebrity and now he's coming back, I would believe you. But I saw the match and it wasn't bad at all. I would put it above some matches on the main card. Can't believe I'm saying that. Seeing Big Justice getting there and spear QT was hilarious. That kid hit that spear like a pro. And then the Rizzler was ringing the bell. He was timekeeper. Yeah, like, the fact that that was one of the highlights of the entire night should go to show you how bad the show was. But people are telling me he was a former wrestler. Okay, that would make sense because he looked a little too polished to be a celebrity turned wrestler. That's for sure. But let's move things along here with the first match. The first match on the card was the 4-way tag team championship match. You had the Acclaimed taking on the Outrunners, taking on the House of Black, or the Kings of the Black Throne, taking on the tag team champions themselves, Private Party. Good match. Very chaotic, as you would expect. They opened up hot. Got the crowd into it. Crowd was very much behind the Outrunners. Here's a thing that I like about the Outrunners, besides them being old school and given that 1980s Hulk Hogan flair. You know what I mean? That dirty blonde, muscular, overly testosterone personality. And I love that they are really good at playing into the crowd. It's the little things they do that really get the crowd to pop for them. So that's something that isn't seen rarely. Not even just in AEW, but also WWE. So I like that. But these are veterans, so I would expect them to know about it. Here is the thing about this match that really surprised me. The wrestling was good. What I'm going to remember most about this match was Max Caster. Max Caster is a heat magnet. The crowd was booing the piss out of him, as you would imagine, because during his rap, he called himself the best wrestler in the world and then threw the microphone at Anthony Bowens, his own partner. And since then, he's been getting booed. He was being booed like he was the Antichrist. But he played into it very well. He was flipping off the crowd. He was acting arrogant, screaming best wrestler alive, and the crowd was like, no, you're not. But it's looking like, and I'm hoping this is not the case, it's looking like they're going to split up the Acclaimed. Do not split up the Acclaimed. Do not. Do not split up the Acclaimed. I would rather, and I mean this, I would rather you just turn them both heel. And I mean that. I would rather Anthony Bowens and Max Caster goes heel. Which could actually be what they need right now. Do not split them up. You split them up, they are both going to flounder. They are both going to fall into obscurity and they will not recover. Do not split them up. Just turn them both heel. Turn them both heel. Take them in a new direction. Do not split them up. Private Party retains by pinning Max Caster, which I thought was appropriate. That was very much appropriate. Yeah, people are saying they're going to split up. Please don't split them up. Don't split them up. But yeah, Max Caster surprisingly was a highlight for me. Give him credit. MJF versus Roderick Strong. It was a match. Good match. It was a match. MJF was the de facto babyface, although he was a heel. That's how you know this match wasn't all that. We all knew that Roderick was supposed to be the babyface. The crowd did not give a damn about Roderick Strong. MJF was what they wanted and who they wanted, and they, despite him trying to get heel heat, made him the de facto babyface. Even post-match, when MJF broke Roderick's arm, the crowd still cheered him. They still cheered him. They still cheered him. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding what was the point of this match. I get that they wanted to create an angle where MJF attacked Roderick Strong, and then post-match, Adam Cole comes out to make the save, and then Kyle O'Reilly pushes him down. And so, they're trying to shift the bodies, put them in different spots, and change the storyline up to make it congruent to what happened last year. And again, I admire that. I respect that. But I'm sorry. If I'm being honest with you, completely honest with you, it still has a long way to go. it still has a long way to go. It's not even Adam Cole's fault. It's not MJF's fault, per se, either. I don't think it's anyone's fault in the storyline. It's just, there's so many logic gaps and leaps that I have to make this make sense that is taking me out of the storyline. You get me? Because, alright, MJF, let's just call it like it is. He had every right to have a grudge against Undisputed Kingdom. They screwed him. They betrayed him. They attacked him for months. And he's the reason why they're the reason why he lost that world title. And now you want me to buy him as the heel in this particular feud because he's a heel and Adam Cole is a babyface? And we're just supposed to just go with that. That's lazy booking. It's lazy booking. I'm sorry. That is lazy booking. You gotta do better than that. Maybe as the storyline goes and they start threading some things together, maybe we can make it work. But right now, I'm sorry. It's just one of those things where I'm just kind of waiting for it to get to the point so we can go on to other things. So, again, the match was good, but I'm not going to go back and watch it. I'm not necessarily beaming at the opportunity to go back and watch this. This match, on the other hand, I will go back and watch. Mercedes Moné versus Kris Statlander for the TBS Championship. Oh, nice super chat. Nice super chat.
Too much time passed to where they can really make this work as far as a storyline where the right people in their roles.
Yeah, honestly, I'm being too generous about it, but you're absolutely right 98% of the time. See what I did there? I hope you like it. Well, 98% of the time currently is in the lead to become the next international Super Chat champion with $5. So if you want to take the title, you got to donate more than $5. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We've reached a point where if they don't start making this click, it's just going to be dead in the water. But back to Mercedes Moné and Kris Statlander. Without question, the best Mercedes Moné match so far in AEW. Not saying her other matches haven't been great. I think her match against Willow Nightingale was great. Her match against Britt Baker was good. And other matches, especially that Stephanie Vaquera match, was great. This match with Kris Statlander, this was the match that I will go to when I see these trolls, when I see these haters on social media go, why did she get $5 million? Oh my gosh, she's overpaid. Exhibit A. This was outstanding. This is the kind of match I look forward to when Mercedes Moné is on my television set. And it pisses me off that we have to deal with her, and I gotta be honest, her horrendous booking on a weekly basis. What they're doing with her weekly, having her talk, having her belittle Camille, which is completely unbelievable. I do not understand why Camille hasn't run through this bitch. From a storyline standpoint, Camille towers over Mercedes. She should have knocked her ass down the first time she tried to start her shit. But it's so bad because it just buries Camille. And it hurts Mercedes because she's supposed to be coming in elevating talent, right? Her job is to make the roster look good. I don't really think that's been the case. The only person she's made look good was Stephanie Vaquera. And she's not in it. She's not even in AEW. WWE picked her up immediately. They snatched her up quickly. But look, Willow was great, but I wouldn't necessarily say that feud elevated Willow, right? Britt Baker, oh my God, that Britt Baker feud was a total disappointment. The Hikaru Shida match was very ho-hum, meh, mid. And so it's like, man, what's it gonna take? I need her to have that one match. Here it is. Thank God. Great chemistry. Give credit where credit is due. By the way, Kris Statlander, I don't know if you've been keeping up with her matches. She's an underdog. She is a dark horse when it comes to overall female performers this year. I'm not going to forget about Chris's match with Willow Nightingale, which still might be the best female wrestling match this year. This is right there under it. This match was outstanding. You got to see Mercedes finally play into her role. I love seeing her get angry every time Kris kicked out. And then at times you get to see that acting chop of hers where she gets even more number and then she starts getting worried and then she starts crying. And you believe it. And then you see Kris Statlander pulling out moves, showing her strength. Oh my goodness. There's just a lot of great spots in this match. Homegirl hit an F5. She hit a sweet ass F5 on Mercedes. It looked so good. And I hate the fact that Kris Statlander lost this match and it feels like there's nothing else left for her to do. If she had stayed with Stokely Hathaway and remained a heel, I feel like we could have done something with that still. But now that she's left Stokely Hathaway and she lost to Mercedes, where do you go from here with her? Like, where does she go from here? You gonna send her after?
They could never make me hate my queen. Mercedes' bad booking hurts, but I will always trust her to deliver forever in the ring. Sometimes the op helps.
Right, it does. It does help knowing that she's one of the best female wrestlers, so I agree with that. 98% of the time continues his lead with $10. So it looks like he might walk away as, again, the international Super Chat champion with $10. If you want to beat him, you got to donate more than $10. But yeah, I'm very worried. I'm worried about Kris Statlander because I know Mercedes will be fine. She clearly has a storyline being set up with Camille. I don't like it, but at least it's a story. I'm assuming and praying she'll be fighting Athena sometime in the future, because I'm thinking about, like, who's she gonna fight for World's End if she fights anybody for World's End. I mean, beats me. I mean, Jamie Hayter should be on that list, would be on that list, but Jamie is currently in a feud with Julia Hart, and I'm scared that they're gonna feed Jamie to Julia Hart. Lord. So yeah, y'all give me your thoughts about this match, and who do y'all think will end up fighting Mercedes after this awesome bout between her and Kris Statlander? Jay White. Switchblade Jay White taking on Hangman Adam Page for the second time. Well, this is their 5th match, I think. No, it's not their 5th match. It's like their 5th, 6th, 7th match. This is the 2nd match they've had this year. Yes. Or was it the 3rd match they had this year? 3rd match, because, never mind, Owen Hart tournament. 3rd match they've had this year. This is the 2nd match in their feud. How about that? Jay White beat him at WrestleDream. I was thinking, okay, Hangman Page gets his win back here. No. Jay White beats him again. Jay White beat Hangman Page again. The match was good. It wasn't anything worth writing about. I thought the ending was awesome. I appreciated that counter sequence of Jay White getting another one over Hangman Page. So that was great. Jay White beats Hangman Page again, has his number, and then Hangman Page snaps and attacks Jay White after the match. Sounds great to me. So, what? What's next? Are we going to do one more at World's End, and maybe it will be a stipulation? Right? I would like to see Jack the Ripper come back. I would like to see Hangman the Ripper come back and start tearing shit up again. Because his momentum has died. Like, he came out of All Out. After that unsanctioned match with Swerve, he came out of that show with all the momentum in the world. I would have put the belt on him. That's how much momentum he had. That's all gone now. I feel like that all dissipated because he's just been losing. He hasn't been doing much. It's all about the follow-up. It's all about the follow-up. Bring him into this match. Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. I'm going to say it. Match of the night. Shocker, right? Shocker. Will Ospreay had match of the night. What? Will Ospreay had match of the night? Yes. Will freaking Ospreay, once again, king of the pay-per-views, match of the night. Outstanding match between him and Kyle Fletcher. And I'm not going to lie to you. Kyle Fletcher was never someone, and still isn't someone, I considered to be worth my time. But I'm being fair about it. I like him better as a villain, and this kind of a villain, than what he was before all this. I didn't really think he was all that special. But then he attacked Will Ospreay, they did the storyline, and then they had this match. And now, here's how I feel about Kyle Fletcher after this match. It's the same way I felt about Shotzi Blackheart. Follow me here. So remember when NXT was in the Thunderdome during the pandemic, and they were pushing Shotzi Blackheart like super hard? And I mean super hard. They were trying to make her out to be like the next big thing. And I remember saying, y'all remember the statement? I said, she's not for me, but I understand why she's over. Right? I understand why they like her, and I understand why fans like her. That's how I feel about Kyle Fletcher. He's not for me, but I 100% understand why people like him, why Tony likes him, and quite frankly, if he wants to push him and make him a TNT champion in the future, sure. Sure, why not? So, man, there was a counter sequence that these two had that was just incredible. And I also like the fact, and I love the fact that Kyle Fletcher beat Will Ospreay clean. He beat him clean. And the story made sense. Because he hit a freaking tombstone on the steel steps, which actually played into the finish of the match. Which I thought was crazy. Because after hitting a tombstone, it took the feeling out of Will Ospreay's arms and his neck. So he couldn't hit the hidden blade. He couldn't hit his finisher. He couldn't hit the Tiger Driver. And so he was a sitting duck for Kyle Fletcher to hit the haluva kick and then the brainbuster, turnbuckle brainbuster. He literally just stole Sami Zayn's moveset, but whatever. I mean, Konosuke Takesa's using the Thunderbomb. What am I gonna say? But yeah, he beat him with the top rope turnbuckle brainbuster. And when it was over, I said to myself, okay, if you're gonna do something with him, go for it, because this is the perfect time to do it. But like I always say, you can give me a fantastic match, a great performance. If the follow-up isn't there, it's not going to matter. It's all about the follow-up when it comes to angles like this. You beat Will Ospreay and you beat him clean. Awesome. What's the follow-up? What comes next? What do you do with this? Does he just beat Will Ospreay and that's it? I don't know about that. That might not sit well with fans. That's not sitting well with me. You better have something else ready for him. Don't just have him get in there and beat Will Ospreay and then go home. No, sir. That don't sit right with me. He better have a story or championship in his future. So this is the part of the show where I talk about this segment between Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May. I was very surprised to not see Toni Storm. I was certain she was coming back. 100% certain. 100% certain she was coming back. I guess she didn't. I guess she's coming back at World's End or sometime in the future. But what we got instead was even crazier. So Mina Shirakawa is in love with Mariah and vice versa. They're going to do a champagne celebration of Mariah May tearing down the women's division. And they go to drink champagne. Mina Shirakawa is celebrating. She's dancing. And then we see Mariah May pick up the bottle and raise it. Raise it to hit Mina Shirakawa. Mina's spider sense was tingling. She sensed it, turned around, ducked the bottle. And then she hit a karate kick. She karate kicked the bottle like a freaking ninja. Wah! And then she spears Mariah May off the ramp after getting spit in the face. But she spears her off the ramp. She speared her off the ramp. And then Mariah May, while she's down, gets kissed by Mina on the forehead, and Mina had blood pouring out of her mouth. I said, what the fuck am I watching? I love it, but what am I watching? Crazy segment. I was like, oh crap, what's happening here? So there you go. That's the next best. Honestly, if we're waiting on Toni Storm to come back, yeah, this is the next best feud. Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's going to be good. I think, look here. I've been very impressed with the storylines involving Mariah May this year. Her feud with Toni Storm, and now this with Mariah May's friend, Mina Shirakawa. I'm going to give this a shot. I think this could be entertaining. Trust me, AEW could use all the storylines it can get, because I'm sorry, this pay-per-view was not it. It just wasn't it. So, y'all give me your thoughts about that. Moving on. We're going to talk about... look. Oh, man. I feel so bad. I feel so bad for Daniel Garcia, because you would think I would be more happier. I, in particular, would be more happier for him. And don't get me wrong. This match wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. So let's get to it. Daniel Garcia versus the scapegoat, Jack Perry, the TNT champ, Jack Perry, doing his best Raven impression. He thinks he's Raven. Quote the Raven, nevermore. I loved the video package. The video package for Daniel Garcia pre-match was mwah, chef's kiss. If you put just as much effort into your stories as you do the video packages, I think the show would be so much further along in quality. This felt like a Dynamite match. I'm sorry. This felt like a match that should have been on Dynamite or Collision. It really wasn't a match that I felt was pay-per-view worthy. Am I a jerk for saying that? It didn't feel pay-per-view worthy to me. It just didn't. But doesn't matter, because the one guy that should have won. Daniel Garcia does indeed beat Jack Perry. He beats Jack Perry and is now your TNT champion. Congratulations. It took you 4 years, Daniel. 4 years to win a title. To be fair, it took Bryan Danielson 3 years. But that's neither here or there. It took Daniel Garcia 4 years to win an AEW title. I don't count the Ring of Honor title. It took him 4 years to win his first AEW championship. He should have won it in 2022, when he had that "you're a wrestler" hype behind him. They never capitalized on him when they needed to. But here we are. Now he's a champion. Let's see what they do with him. It's all about the follow-up. But yeah, Jack Perry's gone. Jack Perry's out the door. Can we say it? Can I finally say it? Jack Perry has been a flop since turning heel. You're going to dispute this? You want to dispute me right now? Jack Perry has been an absolute flop. That championship reign did nothing for anybody. This man, I'm sorry, nothing about him has intrigued me. Ever since he did that stupid segment with Tony Khan. No, ever since they aired the video of CM Punk shoving him, and then following it up with him attacking Tony Khan, I just feel like this was just a waste of time. Nothing came from this. Literally nothing came from Jack Perry. This man set himself on fire, and nobody cares. How much of a flop do you have to be to set yourself on fire and nobody cares? Wow. So Daniel Garcia is now the TNT champion. What else can I say? No, for real, there's nothing else that needs to be said here. Hopefully he has a good run. Oh, God. And the hits keep on coming. Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet for the International Championship. On any other card, this would be match of the night. On any other show, this would have been the pay-per-view match of the year. At any other point in time, I would be salivating over this match. Here's the problem with this. This match wasn't announced on Wednesday. It wasn't even announced on Friday. It was announced on social media. Tony Khan just randomly said, "Hey, Ricochet and Konosuke are having a match." Yes, they were building to a match, but why couldn't you have announced this on Wednesday? Hello? You have to promote your matches. You have to give people a reason to care. Otherwise, what you get is what we got tonight. The crowd was dead for this match. Ricochet and Konosuke, they usually have good chemistry, but it was off. This match was off because no one cared about it. And so therefore, it reflected in their performance. It was a very, very dry match. And it was the first time Ricochet lost. Ricochet's first loss in AEW. And it didn't amount to anything. Because Tony Khan didn't do Jesus Christ, he pisses me off. He didn't do a very good job of making you care about it. And it frustrates me. Because Konosuke Takeshita and Ricochet, at least for AEW, are main event players. These are legitimate main event players. Legitimate main event players. I'm sorry. I'm hoping and praying that Tony Khan hires a better booker. Because if you're to the point where Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita just feel like, and I'm not saying they are, but they feel like just average people, that's never a good sign. That's never a good sign. Konosuke retains, by the way. He retains. Bobby who? Bobby Lashley had his AEW debut match, pay-per-view debut. Excuse me, god damn it. I can't speak now because I'm so flabbergasted. Bobby Lashley had his AEW pay-per-view debut match against Swerve Strickland. And I won't say it was a bad match. I honestly, it was as good. It was as close to a squash match as you were gonna get with Bobby Lashley and Swerve Strickland. You can't just have Bobby get in there and just outright dominate Swerve. You could have, but you can't, because Swerve is a former world champion. You have to protect him. So it was a little bit of a standard back and forth match. Although Bobby got a lot more offense in on Swerve, Bobby still won. And he won clean, which is what matters. What matters is, although there was some interference, relatively so, Bobby won clean by having Swerve pass out to the Hurt Lock. And then Prince Nana got put in the Hurt Lock. And there you go. So Bobby Lashley is off to a good start. Where do you go from here? I keep asking that question. That's the question I have when it comes to all these matches. Where do we go from here? Because quite frankly, in my personal opinion, this is just my personal opinion, I believe Bobby who? Should be a world champion. Bobby Lashley should be going after the world title. And I wish he would have showed up at the end of the show. And not Hangman Page and Jay White and Christian. That's just how I feel about it. So yeah, give me your thoughts about that. Main event next, right? Is it the main event? Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Y'all, I'm tired. Like, this show just... You know a show is bad if you come out of it not energized. You're just worn out. You're tired. So by this point of the show, we're like close to 5 hours in. And you're seeing Orange Cassidy come out. And you're telling yourself you don't care about this dweeb. Jon Moxley comes out and the match starts. The match is, you know what? I'll say it. Overall, match was actually pretty good. Like seeing Orange Cassidy come out of the gate with that orange punch. That was good. That was good. But then the match just kept going on. Orange Cassidy gets busted open. We get blood. Lots of blood. And it just turned into a standard weekly TV match. If I'm being honest with you. Eventually, guess who comes out? The Deathriders come out. Guess who comes out to stop them? The Conglomeration come out to stop them because they're tag teaming with Orange Cassidy. Willow Nightingale comes out to stop Marina Shafir. But the numbers game catches up. Orange Cassidy. There was a nice little hope spot where Orange hits Moxley with the briefcase and then goes to pin him. But then Moxley kicks out, and you're like, wow. That was the first time Orange Cassidy tried to cheat to win. And it didn't work. And then the referee's back is turned. He's distracted by Marina Shafir. And so at that point, Wheeler Yuta hits the ring, hits a running knee, and that's what costs Orange Cassidy the match. I said to myself, you're shitting me, right? After all that punishment Jon Moxley put him through, what cost him was an attack by Wheeler Yuta. And then one Death Rider. Man, whatever. So, Moxley beats him. Now, usually, I would, if it would have just ended there and the show cut off, I would have been like, okay, well, you know what? The match was good. Can't really complain about where we go from here yet, because we're still trying to figure out what the hell is happening with this Death Rider storyline. So if they would have just ended the show right after Moxley won, I would have been like, okay, whatever. It's not what they did. It's not what they did. So they started attacking Orange Cassidy with some chemicals. They had like a bottle of green liquid chemicals, poured it in his mouth, tried to kill him. Then Hangman Page comes out with a chair, and he hits Wheeler Yuta with it. And you're like, what? And then he stares in the eyes of Jon Moxley. I'm like, I thought you were a heel. What are you doing? Now, to be honest with you, Jon Moxley and him do have a history, so I can see why he doesn't like him. But Christian shows up. Christian Cage shows up. And then those two have a stare off. And you're like, are they in cahoots with each other? And then Hangman Page walks away. And Christian goes to cash in the contract to win the title. Then Jay White comes out. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Jesus Christ, what are we doing? What are we doing? What? So, that was a clusterfuck in and of itself. Oh, but we're not done. So, Moxley gets away. They get into their truck. And then Darby Allin completely slams on the pedal, puts the pedal to the metal, and crashes the car into the truck. Darby gets out like a maniac. So the Deathriders run, and they see a white van. And they're like, who's in the white van? Who's driving the white van? Who's a part of the Deathriders? It's Shane McMahon. It better be Shane McMahon. It better be Shane McMahon. So, the mystery person in the white van drives off the Deathriders, and the show ends with Darby Allin destroying their truck. And that was it. That was the pay-per-view. That was the show. Because, I'm sorry, like, that ending is what gave it away for me that this was easily one of their worst, or at least the weakest pay-per-view they've had. Because that ending was such a clusterfuck. I did not care. I was like, what are we doing? What's going on? Again, guys, I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that you can't like AEW television. It's just really cold right now. And the coldness is starting to bleed into the pay-per-views. You see it, I see it, and you know that's true. If you disagree, let me know. Give me your grades. Give me your scores. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can crown a Super Chat champion. We're going to do, let me see, how long have I been here? It's 1 hour and 22 minutes. All right, let's do, let me see. Let's do 10 minutes. So, tell you what, in 10 minutes, if no one donates more than $10, then 98% of the time will be the new international champion with $10. So, if you want to be the champ, you got to donate more than $10. So, I'm curious to know who's going to come in and try to steal this from 98% of the time. While we wait, I'm going to read some of your comments to get your thoughts on the show. How y'all feel about it? Keyshawn says, they insult our intelligence every week. So he wasn't a fan of the pay-per-view, apparently, or the show overall, because he feels like AEW is insulting his intelligence. JJ Bulldog says, Full Gear was weak, but let's not lose faith because AEW is where the best wrestle. Jesus Christ. Debit Money Adams says, is Tony the sole booker? Is there anyone else that can come in and change the direction? There are plenty of people that can, but Tony would need to put them in that position to do so. And I don't know if he wants to give that up. Ultra Shot 97, but AEW is where the best wrestle. JJ Bulldog says TNA is better than AEW. Jesus Christ. I can't say that because I don't watch TNA. I can't even begin to think about, like, what can I compare AEW to when it comes to TNA. You're probably right. George Lewis says NXT 2.0 was okay, and now look at it. Yeah, it's so much better, isn't it? So much better. Yeah, people are saying TNA is actually better than AEW. That's a problem. That's a real problem. NXT right now is much better than it was during the 2.0 era, but it's still not a show worth watching. There's no men's division there. You have freaking Ridge Holland main eventing PLEs. Ridge Holland? Ew. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Kenneth Davenport. Kenneth says every damn match had a power driver. It kills the specialness of the match because everybody's doing the same thing in every match. Where's the quality? WWE has one man doing a pile driver, and that pile driver is one of the most dangerous moves in all of wrestling right now. A pile driver. Mal Amazing says NXT is free on the CW app. Didn't know that. Good to know. Kingslayer Full Gear is the first pay-per-view. Haven't bothered to watch. Wow, you didn't even order the pay-per-view? I've had it with AEW canned? With AEW and... Okay, that was my mistype. I've had it with AEW and Tony Khan can't book. It's time for this clown to leave. Yeah, Tony needs to step down, honestly. He should let someone else run the show because he ain't cutting it. Brian Lindsay says... Oh, I've already answered that one. Never mind. Sorry about that, Brian. How you doing, Tyler Gaming? Good to have you here. Noel says, we got sharks in the water. Sharks in the water. He's talking about the super chats. Although, I'm starting to think that 98% of the time is going to walk away with the International Championship. I have not seen Omar Feliciano, which is interesting. Again, the amount to beat is $10, and how many more minutes we got? It's almost time. Jesus Christ. 5 more minutes. Let's see, spent my entire birthday watching this. Well, again, happy birthday, George Lewis. Sorry about that, man. That's terrible. I'd rather play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth than watch this pay-per-view. What's wrong with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Isn't that like... You're talking about part 2? Part 2 of the Final Fantasy remake? I loved it. I thought it was a great game. Juan Herrera says, thank you, bro. I'm at work, but I love your podcast. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Okay, we got some scores here. SD Kai gave it a C-. George Lewis gave it a 6.5 out of 10. King Gamer Worldwide gave it an 8 out of 10. Oh, he thought it was a good show. Okay. Kris Wrestling Views. I don't know why I said Kyle's Wrestling Views. Kris Wrestling Views. Wait, what's your score, Kris Wrestling Views? I thought you said it was terrible. Never mind. Well, maybe he gave it later on. Let me see here. Byron Cutler gave it a D-. Debit Money Alex gave it a D+. Noel gave it a C+. Tyler Gaming gave it a 3 out of 10. That's an F, sir. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, someone driving 7 hours to a show is... No, sir. I would not. I can't. Uh-oh. Debit Money Adams says, I want all the gold. $25.01. So, he takes the lead with $25. I am wondering if 98% of the time we'll answer him. This is where it gets good. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where the battle starts. When they donate, do know that the sharks come out. So I'm excited to see what happens. So here's what's going to happen. 98% of the time, you got to let me know now if you plan on continuing or you're going to concede. And then Debit Money Adams will more than likely end up being, unless someone else donates, will end up being the Super Chat International Champion. So he will have 2 belts. But Debit Money Adams will have to defend his World Championship next weekend. So, let's see what happens. What we gonna do, ladies and gentlemen? What's it gonna be 98% of the time? The amount to beat is $25. You currently have 10. So, if you donate 20, you'll take the lead, essentially. I love it. This is when it gets good. This is when it gets really good, ladies and gentlemen. All right, back to your scores. Let me see what y'all been saying about this show. JJ Bulldog gave it a C-. Let me see here. People are telling me it's not kid justice, it's big justice. Again, I don't know anything about the Costco guys, so I'll trust you on that. The Outrunners are Hulk Hogan wannabes. I think that's the point. I think that's why they're entertaining. It's because they literally just mimic Hulk Hogan in every single way, and it's hilarious. They're like the sons of Hulk Hogan, and I love it. I personally think it's hilarious. People are saying they're gonna split up the Acclaimed. Don't split up the Acclaimed. Can we not split up the Acclaimed? Just turn them both heel. Turn them both heel. Please. Please. I don't want them. I don't want to see them. I just don't. I don't want to see them split up. I just can't. Let's see here. Max Caster will join the Hurt Syndicate. Again, like, that's fine. Why can't both of them join the Hurt Syndicate? Uh-oh. We got a battle. We got a battle.
Fool, the belt is mine. Elbow from the top rope, flexed biceps, medium skin tone.
Flex bicep, medium skin tone. 98% of the time takes the lead with $30 to $25.01 with Debit Money Adams. And oh wow. And just like that, Debit Money Adams is conceding. I guess he's saving his money. He's saving his money for next week. So, 98% of the time, it looks like you're going to walk away with the International Superchat Superchat Championship with a whopping $30. Wow. Well, let's give it, let me see, how much more time do I want to give it? Let's give it 5 more minutes. Let me just make sure that no one else wants to donate. But I am going to go ahead and get this ready to go. 98% of the time, just took one of the belts, and he's coming for the belt next week. Next weekend. Can he walk away a double champion? Wouldn't that be crazy? If by the end of next weekend, 98% of the time is a double champion. I'm very curious to know who would be able to stop him 98% of the time. I wonder what happened to Omar Feliciano. He probably just said, screw it, because I'm not... Look, I'm going to be honest with you. He probably said, screw AEW right now, because he's not trying to have it. So, I don't know. Maybe he'll show up next weekend. Maybe he wants the world title. But it's very curious. I don't know why he didn't show up this time. But if it comes out that he didn't show up because he doesn't watch AEW anymore, I would completely understand, because that show, especially after tonight's episode, ugh. Booty cheeks. Booty cheeks. Booty butt cheeks. I get it, man. Well, I don't see anybody else stepping up to the plate. So in that case, going once, going twice. The new International Super Chat Champion of the world, and maybe soon to be a world champion next week. 98% of the time. Because understand something, ladies and gentlemen. When you got greatness in your heart, when you got the spirit of a warrior, you don't just succeed. You always succeed 98% of the time. Congratulations, sir. Your next title defense will be at World's End. AEW World's End, that's at the end of the year. That will be your next title defense when it comes to this international title. So, it's all AEW pay-per-views. That's what this is for. So, congratulations. Show your love to the legend 98% of the time. Congratulations. Congrats. But this was the secondary belt. Understand something really quickly. I think Debit Money Adams let you have this because he's saving his money for the world title next week. He knows that the world title is much more precious. So 98% of the time, you might have taken this one. Will you be able to take the world title at Survivor Series next weekend? Inquiring minds want to know. But congratulations, champ. You've done it. I'm going to have to find a slogan for you. Because Omar Feliciano had, "The champ is here." Of course, Debit Money Adams is $1 Million Man. I got to give you something. Debit Money. Give you something 98% of the time. We'll figure it out. But, guys, I'm tired. It's past midnight. This show drained me. I don't care about anything happening with AEW right now. Hopefully they get their act together. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you all for joining me for this lovely live stream. Once again, like the video, subscribe, and click that bell. Catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and Venmo. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Survivor Series is going to be much better. So much better than this show. I guarantee it. See you all then. And always take care of yourselves. This is Alyx, just Alyx, signing out right here in Alyx's world. A place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Peace. When you're